Hello. So I felt like I should make a little video, and I really didn't know what about, but I don't know, it just kind of starts with, as I go through my day, there'll be a quiet moment, and then if kind of the feeling or the inspiration comes up that, oh, maybe something wants to be expressed. Call it a feeling or an intuition or just your excitement or whatever it is. Of course, not everyone's making videos, but I'm just speaking for my own case here. But then there's a slight push or pull of, what should I make? And, like the subtle judgments of, maybe I don't have anything useful to say or whatever. And then it always really comes down to me closing my eyes for a moment, connecting with my heart, and just sort of being open to whatever wants to be expressed at this time, right? Really recognizing that it's not me that needs to do something, but I can drop back and allow my highest excitement, allow my intuition to speak in this moment or in any moment. So I did that, and and sort of what came up as was what I'm talking about right now. Sort of the process of just giving yourself a minute, right? Of dropping into your heart and allowing, as opposed to feeling like you need to do. And this is something that's helped me so much in these moments of overwhelm. You've got one thing after another going on in your life. And sometimes I just need to surrender. I just need to sort of drop back and let my body tell me what is needed right now, right? Rather than an overwhelmed or restless mind trying to piece it together, right? And I think, even though there's so much to be said about the body, the world, the spiritual path, whatever this thing is, right? Everyone has so much advice and so many techniques, which in the end is just feeding the mind and feeding the spiritual story or the story of life of how we should be doing things. And of course, sprinkled into that story are terms like surrender and letting go and following your intuition. And, everything what I'm about to say and have said is nothing new. But I think the beautiful thing about it is that it's so simple, right? It's so effortless. It's the practice of not doing, right? And if I can express something for someone who needs to hear it, it would be that the simplest act of giving yourself, I was going to say 5 minutes, I was going to say 1 minute, but it can take moments, right? Sometimes it only needs moments, right? When we're in this train, right? I'm living a relatively quiet life, but especially with a baby now and work going on, it can just feel like one thing after another, and sort of these notions of needing to meditate for whatever your preconceived notion is of how long you need to meditate to achieve any kind of spiritual progress that you think you need. I think that's a distraction. And, of course, if you have half an hour a day to meditate or an hour a day to meditate, that's fantastic, right? Follow your excitement. But I want to put any minds at rest who feel some kind of pressure to be more spiritual or to do more things that they think would, that you might think would lead you in this correct direction. And I want to highlight how really I think this whole game we're playing is truly about getting out of our own way, right? And it's a co-creation. So it's not stepping away and letting life fly by or anything like that, but it's about giving yourself moments, right? These moments, and you'll be reminded, right? You'll be reminded perhaps by this video or by something else you've heard in a moment of overwhelm or in a moment of quiet or in any kind of moment where the mind might ask, what should I do? Or I don't know what to do. The best thing you can do for yourself is drop into your heart. And maybe I should explain that, because for a long time I was like, what does it mean, drop into your heart or into your body or whatever? And it's as simple as bringing your awareness into your chest or into your body. I'm sure that works too. I mean, I tend to go into my heart because, I don't know, it feels right. It feels like sort of the heartfelt intelligence. It feels like where I can listen to myself most. Maybe the solar plexus is good too. You know, these are all things that you can experiment with. But really the idea is bringing your center of awareness out of the mind, out of the story, and into your heart, and with the subtle intention of listening, right? What is needed right now? What can I do? What can I say? How can I be of service, right? I find this often, I can get into a bit of a contracted crunch when I'm constantly thinking, what do I need to do? It's all I. It's all about my story. And this is kind of a side note or a tangent, but this dropping to the heart with a kind of position of service, with a kind of position of allowing something greater than you to be revealed through you. And again, it doesn't really matter what your story is, what this thing that might be greater, whether it's God or your higher self or your guides or your subconscious, you know, whatever it is. It really doesn't matter. You don't need to be spiritual. You don't need to be religious. You don't need any real notion to greatly benefit from this. Because, you know, the mind might ask, like mine did many times, once you've dropped into your heart, but now what? But now what? You know, if there was no obvious inspiration or intuition or feeling of what should be done, that came from that moment of stillness, of that moment of dropping into yourself. I think a level of faith or a level of trust in the process is really important, because the unfolding of yourself, the process of individuation, the process of healing is something that is allowed, not something that is done, right? It is something you will do anyways. It is the process of you not falling, but going through the continuous patterns that you tend to do, right? These moments of overwhelm, of resistance, of pain, of discomfort are expressions of these patterns that are going on, right? They are expressions of your energy body, of your subconscious, of your physical body, of these patterns that are repeating. And it's in these moments of stillness, of connecting back with yourself, where you can bring awareness to that which your mind unconsciously is not perceiving, right? Like, the healing is sort of happening out of our purview. And that makes sense for all sorts of reasons. And honestly, I could keep talking about this, but I think that would defeat the point. Really, what I want to say is, through the simple practice of dropping, you allow a kind of portal of your heart's wisdom, of this greater wisdom that you're listening to feed into your life, right? And it doesn't even take 5 minutes. It doesn't even take a minute sometimes. what's so powerful to me are just moments of dropping in, and it can be really miraculous what can slowly come together and piece together. And you'll find that, today you might drop in, and then you're in the autonomy of your day, of your life again. And then 2 weeks later, you'd be like, oh, I can drop in. And then I drop in, and you kind of return to the same place. And then maybe 1 week later, you keep returning to this place, and it starts to put together in an intuitive way, not in a mental way, but you start working with yourself. You start getting out of your own way, and you start allowing for the wisdom of your heart, I suppose, to speak through your life. yeah, that's right. So yeah, I'll leave it there. I hope that inspired someone to drop into their heart today. And if not, that's okay too. Ciao.